Welcome to the Ghosts of Strategy channel, where we explore the most secret stories in the world of espionage and intelligence strategy. Today, Ghosts of Strategy will tell the full story from the craziest idea ever placed on the Israeli Prime Minister's desk to the moral price no one wants to answer for. Are you ready to step into the gray zone between compassion and betrayal? If yes, stay until the very end of this video. Give it a quick like and hit the bell so you don't miss the darkest stories of the intelligence world. In 2015, in Dahiyeh, the southern suburb of Beirut, a new sign went up: Levant Health Partners, free humanitarian clinic. Doctors in white coats, smiling kindly nurses cradling newborns, hundreds of poor residents queuing from dawn to get a number. In just a few months, the name became the hope of the entire neighborhood. People whispered to each other, "They treat you for free. They have plenty of medicine equipment, more modern than state hospitals." Even bearded Hezbollah fighters in black t-shirts brought their mothers, wives, and children there for treatment. They hugged the doctors in gratitude, took photos together, and had no idea that exactly 400 meters away, right beneath their feet, a secret basement was recording every breath, every word spoken in the most secure meeting room of their own organization. This was the moment Mossad played its biggest, boldest, and most ruthless chess game in modern intelligence history. They didn't infiltrate agents. They didn't fire Tomahawk missiles. They opened a clinic and treated people for real. They saved the lives of thousands, including the enemies of Israel, just to place a laser microphone less than half a kilometer from Hezbollah's headquarters. The operation, codenamed Operation Medical Shield, lasted exactly 2 years, collecting thousands of hours of secret meetings of senior Hezbollah commanders and Iranian advisors, before it was discovered on a fateful morning in 2017. Imagine you are the Mossad director on an afternoon in March 2013. In front of you is the latest batch of satellite photos of Hezbollah's newly completed headquarters in Dahiyeh. That building was no longer architecture, it was a living monster. 1.2-meter thick reinforced concrete walls with anti-explosion steel mesh coated with radar-absorbing material. A roof that could withstand a 2,000-pound guided bomb. 3 underground floors completely sealed against eavesdropping electromagnetic pulses and even infrared satellites. Doors with iris fingerprint voice recognition and rumors of random DNA checks. Internal communications ran on encryption systems brought in by Iranian experts. In other words, this was where every plan to attack Israel for the next decade would be drawn up. Every batch of precision missiles from Tehran distributed, every operation in Syria directed. And for the first time in history, Mossad was completely blind. Their best Arab agents couldn't get past the gate checkpoint. Drones flying low only photographed concrete roofs. Long-range laser microphones were completely neutralized by anti-vibration glass. The world's best optical satellites saw nothing but an evenly warm concrete block. In a sealed meeting room in Herzliya, a colonel roared, "We could level the entire neighborhood with missiles if we wanted, but we can't hear what they're saying inside." Heavy silence lasted almost a minute. Then a young major spoke, his voice quiet but ice cold. "If we can't get inside, why don't we build something right next to it?" The whole room turned to look at him like he was insane. But just 6 months later, that insane idea was on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's desk with a short line underlined in red. "We will open a humanitarian clinic to eavesdrop on them." And with that Operation Medical Shield, the most humanitarian, most ruthless, and most brilliant operation in Mossad history was officially greenlit. A chess game where the pieces were stethoscopes, fever-reducing syrups, and the lives of thousands of poor Beirut residents who had no idea they were becoming human shields for one of the boldest espionage operations of the century. In October 2013, a small office in a Geneva suburb officially registered an NGO called Levant Health Partners, Health for All. 3 weeks later, the website was live, clean interface, smiling children, 5 years of activity reports, an 11-member board with dazzling credentials. Harvard PhDs, former WHO officials, Norwegian philanthropists, Greek Orthodox bishops. Not one of them existed outside paperwork and photographs. Money flowed in from 47 different sources. Nordic funds, Cypriot pharmaceutical companies, 2 anonymous Monaco billionaires, a moderate Turkish Islamic organization, and dozens of private donations laundered through 9 layers of shell companies. A total of more than $18 million, not a single transaction large enough to trigger Swiss bank alerts. In Tel Aviv, a 42-person task force worked for 18 months without days off. They created medical records for 120 future doctors and nurses, designed logos brochures. Even the waiting room sent. Bergamot and Mint built a fake operational history in Jordan and Syria, with photoshopped photos, actor interviews, and paid articles in small local newspapers. At the end of 2014, a senior Hezbollah counterintelligence officer in Beirut received a 400-page dossier on Levant Health Partners for vetting. He checked for 3 months, called Geneva, someone answered, checked the money clean, sent people to the Swiss office, they were welcomed with good coffee. His final report to leadership was one line, no suspicious signs detected. Allow operation in Dahieh. In January 2015, a dilapidated 3-story building exactly 400 meters from Hezbollah HQ was purchased at an outrageous price under the name of a Dutch charity. No one knew its basement was about to become the most expensive listening post in Mossad history. You're probably thinking they sent agents in white coats, right? Completely wrong. Mossad played much bigger than that. They hired real doctors, real nurses, real patients, real blood, real tears. Out of more than 60 people working there, only 3 knew who they were really serving. The next part will give you chills. How they turned the clinic's basement into the most advanced listening post on the planet, and how they got Hezbollah fighters to voluntarily bring their wives and children to lie right on top of Israeli spying equipment. In early 2015, the basement iron door of the 3-story building in Dahieh was welded shut for 30 straight nights. Outside, people only saw Arab construction workers with Tripoli accents, hard hats, smoking, and joking loudly. No one knew they were Mossad's best technical team, each carrying their 4th fake passport of their lives. They dug an extra one. 5 meters deep, poured anti-vibration concrete, wrapped everything in lead and wave-absorbing polymer. Then they installed what is still considered a masterpiece of espionage technology, 5th-generation directional laser microphone system. Not ordinary microphones. These were ultra-thin infrared laser beams fired from the basement, traveling 400 meters through the air, hitting the 3rd-floor meeting room windows of Hezbollah HQ, reading the air vibrations when someone spoke, then sending the signal back. Accuracy so high it could distinguish who was speaking Hassan Nasrallah's voice, General Qasem Soleimani's voice, or just the sound of a coffee cup being set down. The audio processing system was hidden in 3 fake blood refrigerators, running algorithms that filtered out Beirut's urban noise motorcycles, crying children mosque, loudspeakers to reconstruct conversations with 92% clarity. When needed, it also captured electromagnetic leakage from computers and phones in the room. Everything was encrypted at the highest military level and transmitted via underground fiber optic cable laid in 2014 under the guise of neighborhood internet upgrade. Above ground, the first and second floors were a 100% real clinic GE ultrasound machines, digital X-ray cabinets full of insulin and antibiotics imported from Jordan. The smell of 90-proof alcohol disinfectant, crying children mothers, comforting them. Everything was real. Not a single detail was fake. Only 3 people knew the truth. The clinic director, Dr. Michelle Haddad, 12-year deep cover Mossad officer, administrative manager Rima Salameh, female. Perfect Beirut accent, actually trained as a nurse at the American University of Beirut. And the technician Ali, who always wore a green jacket, always carried a toolbox, always smiling. The only one with the basement key. They lived there for 2 years. 2 years of really treating patients, really saving lives, really smiling, and every night going down to the basement to turn on the machines and listen to the enemy plan the deaths of their own countrymen. The next part is the one that even Mossad officers later said made their skin crawl, how they ran the clinic so well that Hezbollah voluntarily turned it into the most trusted hospital in the area, and the recordings that almost made Tel Aviv launch war immediately. Can you still handle it? Scroll down and comment. I'm still here, so I know you haven't run away. There are still 6 parts left, and each one is darker than the last. Continue or stop while you can still sleep at night. Official Opening Day, May 17, 2015, ribbon cutting attended by local MPs, a famous imam and the regional UNICEF representative. Beirut newspapers ran it on the front page. First European standard free clinic opens in Dahiyeh. First week, over 1,600 patients. Third week, 4,000. By the 8th month, the official number was 38,742 visits, including 127 people carrying green Hezbollah party cards. They came for one simple reason. The treatment was genuinely excellent. The medicine was genuinely good, and they never asked which unit are you from. A Hezbollah fighter with old shrapnel in his lung received free endoscopic surgery. The wife of the Qassem brigade commander in South Beirut gave birth to her first child at the clinic. Dr. Michelle Haddad personally delivered the baby at 3 a.m. The 6-year-old daughter of an Iranian advisor with type 1 diabetes received lifelong free insulin. They thanked them with tears, hugs, and bouquets of flowers placed in front of the clinic every Friday. Meanwhile, 9 meters beneath their feet, the recorders ran 24/7 without pause. From summer 2015 to spring 2017, Mossad collected exactly 914 hours of secret meetings, including 41 meetings attended by General Qasem Soleimani. Still alive at the time, full deployment plans for Fateh 1-10 missiles on the Golan Heights, exact schedules of every weapons shipment from Damascus to Beirut, a list of 68 Israeli targets to be attacked in case of war with priority order, and a 38-minute recording later called The 38 Minutes, in which Nasrallah and Soleimani argued over whether to launch all-out war on Israel in 2017. Every night, the 3 Mossad officers took turns in the basement, wearing headphones, taking notes, translating live, and sending encrypted files to Tel Aviv before 5 a.m. They worked smiling because the next morning they would go upstairs, examine patients, and smile at the very same people they had been listening to all night. Once a lightly wounded Hezbollah fighter came to get stitches and sat in the first-floor waiting room holding a cup of mint tea. At that exact moment beneath his feet, the machine was recording his own commander discussing how to shell Haifa. That was when the line between saving lives and killing was only one concrete floor thick. In March 2016, a 9-year-old boy named Mahmoud was rushed into the emergency room of Levant Health Partners cyanotic from pesticide poisoning. Dr. Michel Haddad, Mossad, Major personally intubated him, pumped his stomach, and administered antidote for 6 straight hours. The boy lived. His mother fell to her knees, kissed the doctor's hands, and sobbed in gratitude. 3 days later, analysts in Tel Aviv discovered Mahmoud's father was the missile transport chief of Hezbollah's 97th Brigade, the same man who appeared in the previous day's recording discussing the transfer of 42 cruise missiles into southern Lebanon. The same month, the clinic admitted a fighter critically injured in a training accident. He had stage 4 blood loss and needed 12 units urgently. Rima Salameh, female Mossad officer, personally ran through the neighborhood begging for blood donations. The blood arrived in time. He survived. 2 weeks later, he returned to headquarters and participated in a meeting planning roadside bombs on the Israeli border. The recording of that meeting was sent to Tel Aviv with a handwritten note from Rima. The man we saved today will kill at least 7 Israeli soldiers this year. Cases like that were not exceptions, they were daily. In 730 days of operation, the clinic saved the lives of 312 people carrying Hezbollah party cards or with direct family ties. Successfully performed emergency surgery on 41 cases that state hospitals refused due to lack of equipment. Provided lifelong free insulin to 189 children, 28 of whom were children of mid- and high-ranking commanders. Every life saved was a knife in the conscience of the 3 Mossad officers living there. They started taking sleeping pills. Michel wrote a diary in Hebrew. The last line before the operation ended, "We became the enemy's doctors to do our spy work well. But who will be the doctor to heal us?" That was when Operation Medical Shield stopped being just an intelligence operation. It became an unanswerable question. Can you hold a scalpel to save someone and a gun to shoot them at the same time? The next part is the coldest of the story, the moment Hezbollah smelled a rat, and the race between life and death measured only in minutes. Are you ready to see the ending? Type 1. Want to see the end in the comments if you dare go all the way into this darkness. Early 2017, everything was still perfect, until a Hezbollah security officer named Abu Hassan noticed 2 small details. First, the clinic basement ventilation system was too powerful and too quiet. In Dahieh, every air conditioner roared like a jet. This one was silent as a graveyard. He stood smoking in front of the vent for a week, noting on-off times. Second, a technician named Ali often went to the basement alone at 2-3 a.m. carrying a green toolbox. Abu Hassan asked colleagues, "Getting medicine from storage so late?" The answer was always, "The generator keeps failing. He has to check constantly." On February 12, 2017, Abu Hassan sent a report upward, 70% chance the clinic is compromised. Recommend deep surveillance. Hezbollah didn't make noise. They did it their way, silent and deadly. They installed hidden cameras on the streetlight opposite the clinic. They sent fake food delivery riders every day to observe. They had two real Hezbollah nurses apply for jobs to work as insiders. They hired plumbers to fix pipes to get access to the basement. In Tel Aviv, red lights flashed at 4:17 a.m. on March 19th. An AI algorithm detected an 840% spike in the keyword Levant Health Partners on Hezbollah's internal channels in 72 hours. Mossad knew time left was measured in weeks, maybe days. Emergency order sent, activate exodus plan immediately. The three remaining Mossad officers in Beirut received one encrypted message, Shiva Protocol, 96 hours, meaning in the next 4 days erase all traces, dismantle the most sensitive equipment, and disappear from Lebanon forever. They began removing the laser microphones, burning hard drives, pouring acid on backup servers, all while the clinic stayed open as usual, still smiling, still treating patients, still saving lives. Day 3, one of the Hezbollah insider nurses went to the basement for gauze and saw a new steel door inside the supply room. She photographed it and sent the picture at 21:47. 21:53, order from Hezbollah HQ. Move tonight, but Mossad was 4 hours ahead. 2015, the fateful night of 2017. The three remaining Mossad officers in Beirut received the final message from Tel Aviv 0 hour. Route blue, no traces, Godspeed. In the next 240 minutes, their entire world would collapse. 2020, Ali, chief technician, went to the basement one last time. He opened a silver metal suitcase not containing bombs or guns, but 12 special insulin vials and 8 boxes of children's fever medicine. He poured concentrated sulfuric acid on the 4 main servers, waited exactly 7 minutes for the acid to eat the circuits, then neutralized the smell with saline. Then he closed the suitcase, labeled it Emergency Aid Medicine, Do Not Open, and put it on a cart as if making a delivery. About 45, Rima Salameh was still seeing the last patient, a 78-year-old woman with hypertension. She smiled, wrote the prescription, patted the old lady's shoulder, then quietly locked her desk drawer containing a Glock 19 and 3 different passports. 23:05, Michelle Haddad announced to all staff, "Tonight, there's an emergency Ministry of Health inspection. Everyone go home early and rest. We'll continue tomorrow." No one suspected anything. They hugged goodbye as usual. Terrace 17. The three met in the back parking lot. No goodbyes, no hugs, just a nod. 23:20. An old white Toyota Corolla sped out of Dahiyeh on a route rehearsed 47 times. In the trunk, 3 suitcases of normal clothes, 1 suitcase of medicine, and 1 black plastic bag containing the last 4 surviving SSDs with 2 years of recordings. 23:39. They passed the first Hezbollah checkpoint. Guard asked, "Where are you going so late?" Dr. Michelle smiled kindly. Child having seizures in Babda. Hospital out of medicine. Bringing it urgently. He opened the trunk, pointed to the medicine suitcase. The guard looked for 3 seconds and waved them through. 3 more seconds and he would have seen the black plastic bag. 0027. Rendezvous point. An empty lot near Beirut airport. A blacked-out helicopter landed silently, engines cut from afar. The 3 jumped aboard. Door closed. The helicopter vanished over the Mediterranean before Hezbollah radar could turn. 01:15. Helicopter landed on an Israeli destroyer 42 nautical miles offshore. The 3 officers stepped down. No one spoke. Only Ali looked back toward Lebanon one last time and whispered, "I hope the real insulin reaches the kids." Jo 5:47 a.m. the same day, 30 military trucks and 200 Hezbollah gunmen sealed off the entire neighborhood around Levant Health Partners. Hassan Nasrallah personally ordered dig 3 meters deep if you have to find them. 0603, assault team stormed in. Front door wide open, lights on, the smell of medical alcohol still strong. On the reception desk, Rima's half-finished coffee still warm. Last patient file still open to the old lady with hypertension. Not a single person. 0617, they broke into the basement. The site froze, even the assault commander 4. Bare concrete walls, cables cleanly cut, floor stained with acid, and in the middle, a single A4 sheet taped to the wall with medical tape. Thank you for your trust, your friends from Israel. Nothing else. No hard drives, no servers, no laser microphones. Everything had vanished with the helicopter the night before. 0730, Hezbollah released video of the scene to the press. TV headline: Israel used a humanitarian clinic to spy on us for 2 years. Dahia descended into chaos. People crying, cursing, smashing the clinic sign. One mother, clutching her child who had been cured of diabetes, screamed in the street, "Who will give my child insulin now?" Within 48 hours, more than 40 real humanitarian organizations in Lebanon received anonymous death threats. Doctors Without Borders, MSF, partially withdrew staff from the south. UNICEF suspended 3 projects because locals wouldn't let their vehicles in. Trust was completely shattered. At the same time, in an underground base beneath Herzliya, the 3 officers who had just escaped sat looking at each other. No one smiled. Michelle opened the last surviving SSD, not intelligence data, but the list of 1,847 chronic patients the clinic had been treating. He sent it through a secret channel to a Shiite doctor in Beirut with one line: "These are our patients. Please continue treating them." 3 years after the exposure in 2020, a Lebanese investigative journalist named Mariam Al-Dohla quietly returned to the old street in Dahia. The 3-story building was now just a burned-out shell. The Levant Health Partner sign was smashed, but on the wall someone had spray-painted in red, "Israel cured our children to spy on our fathers." Mariam found 11 former patients. The interviews made her cry in the street. The Iranian advisor's daughter, now 12, whose mother had to sell her wedding gold to buy insulin. The fighter saved in 2016, now walking on crutches, but proudly saying, "I live to keep fighting." Israel Mahmoud's mother, the boy, poisoned by pesticide, hugging her and sobbing, "I don't know whether to hate them or thank them." At the same time, at a closed seminar in Herzliya, a retired Mossad general told 200 trainees Operation Medical Shield was the most successful and most failed operation at the same time. We obtained data that prevented at least 4 major attacks on Israel from 2017 to 2023. But we also created a generation of Lebanese Shiites who grew up hearing the Jews pretended to be doctors to kill us. That price cannot be calculated in money. To this day, the 914-hour archive remains in an underground vault in Ramat Gan, marked Top Secret, Eternal. Part of it allowed Israel to precisely eliminate 38 Hezbollah targets without bombing civilians. But that same archive also made every real humanitarian organization in Lebanon suspect for years afterward. And the 3 Mossad officers from back then, Ali now works as a school security guard in Tel Aviv, and never speaks of the story Rima Salameh left the service and opened a real pediatric clinic in Haifa, treating Arab children for free. Michel Haddad is still on the active roster, but every year on May 17th, he anonymously sends a crate of insulin to a hospital in Dahiyeh. The operation ended, but the question still hangs between Beirut and Tel Aviv. When compassion is turned into a weapon, who is the real victim? This story has no heroes, no clear villains, only a very deep shade of gray that no one dares look at directly. Thank you for staying with Ghosts of Strategy until the very last second of darkness. If you're still here, do one thing. Let me know you understood that in the world of intelligence, there is never black or white. See you in the next story. There are still many gray zones waiting for us. Don't forget to hit the bell, because next time you might be living inside an Operation Medical Shield without even knowing it.